Here we go. We are recording now.
Now I'm more nervous.
Ah, all
Good
right.
morning. This is probably my last time addressing you guys as juniors on Wednesday afternoon. You guys are officially seniors. How did that happen so fast, right? Um, Anyhow, my intention for coming in today is not to overwhelm you or stress you. I would have loved to have come earlier in the year with the APs pushed so far back. That just didn't work out. And so, what I want to go over with you guys is just resources, the expectations, not that you go home and work on this right now. It's really if you want to work on it in the summer and get a head start and make it easier for you for the fall. So, all of it will be on here for that. Um, I think we all need to take a breather. I know I definitely do. We've had an overwhelming year. We've experienced trauma, believe it or not. And so we all need to take a breath. So definitely don't do this right now, but it's here for you for when you do want to use it. All right. Okay. Is it sharing okay? All right. Awesome. So again, the intention's not to overwhelm you at this moment, but it's just to provide you for resources and not something that you need to do now. And then how much time to plan for college applications is going to really depend on which colleges you wish to apply to. And I'll go over some of those in a little bit. And then some dates, deadlines, websites, important information on letters of rec, a college application organizational chart, and then some differences between applying to a Cal State, a UC, private out of states, using the Common App. So moving on to how long this process takes, it depends on the colleges. So just to give you an idea, community college application is about half an hour. Some of you have done dual enrollment applications. It's the same application. So that's not lengthy. There's no essays or anything like that to write. The CSU application for the Cal States, most students take about an hour and a half to complete that application. So that's not lengthy either. What some students may have to do is reach out to their parents about questions on income or residency stuff. But as far as like how long it takes to complete it, it's fairly quick. Then comes the two that provides the stress and are quite lengthy, and that's the UC application and the private universities. And I just put approximately a month, and that of course varies. Some students will start in August and then not submit till November, so obviously it's multiple months. And there are some people who will try to do it and get it done within a week or less. I don't recommend that. And the reason those take longer is because you do have to write essays. So you have to think about what you're going to write and how you're presenting yourself. And you probably want to have a few more than one edit. So have a few drafts, and then you probably want to have someone review it and check it out for you. So those are the reasons why it could take longer. And then you also will need letters of rec for the privates, not for the UCs. And in both cases, you'll need to basically have a resume. What are the extracurriculars that you've done, your sports, your what awards have you received? What leadership experience do you have? Like all these different things. And so it takes time to go through all 4 years and kind of not just come up with what you've done and the hours that you've spent doing those, but you get like a few sentences, like 2 sentences maybe. It's a character limit of describing what you have done. And so it takes a lot to sometimes write one sentence to describe your involvement in something, or 2 sentences. So, so for example, like I was in this club that's about this versus I, developed lessons, and I grew this club from 10 members to 25 members, and I did outreach, and, so how you describe it can take a little bit longer than just typing it in. So that's why the UCs and the privates are more lengthy. There's more to think about, and researching colleges that are a good fit. I have had students tell me that was an overwhelming process for them. and time consuming. So, trying to figure out what is some good colleges that you want to apply to, and then also seeing the differences in majors that different colleges offer. So that could take some time as well and be overwhelming. So here, if you're not sure where to start, like, everyone keeps talking about careers or majors. You don't have to have that figured out. Even for applications, most colleges will allow you to apply undecided or undeclared. But if you want to have an idea of what different majors are, you could click on here and I'll take you to a website that discusses some of these. This website I love, California Career Zone. You could click on here and explore interests and explore industry sectors. So they have a really great quiz in there called, not quiz, but it's a interest inventory to kind of get asking you what are some things that you enjoy, and it could give you a list of careers that match your interests, and then you can explore some more. The Big Future College search website, I really love this, and I think this could be a way to start narrowing in what are some colleges that you may want to apply to. Did it switch to the website, you guys? Yes, okay. So right now, if you were to look at this, you have 3,690 college options. Oh, that sounds amazing. However, you don't want to apply to that many. So you can narrow this down by many different things. So for example, you can say, okay, well, I want to go to a four-year university. I don't care if it's public or private, but maybe, I don't want to go to such a large school. So maybe 2,000 students or less and a medium-sized school. And then you close it, and that just eliminated a lot of colleges right then and there. So now we're left with 1657. And now let's say you also, want to stay in California. But maybe you also want to, maybe you'll go to Washington State. Where are you? Okay, so now that eliminated more colleges, and now we're at 127. Does that make sense? So it's a way to narrow down some colleges that you might be interested based on whether it's the type of school, how selective the school is, how hard it is to get into a college, location, either by distance. You could say, I don't want to even go 20 miles from Long Beach. You could do that. What kind of majors they may have. In some cases, majors may not be a big difference, a big deal. So you want to major in psychology, almost every college offers psychology as a major. But now you want to major in chemical engineering, or you want to major in architecture, or you want to major in music theory, something like that. Not all colleges offer those majors. So you probably do want to select colleges that offer a major if that's, one of the things that's most important for you. Sports too, etc. So you could do that. So that's that link you could play with. Another cool thing that you guys can do at some point is review your college and career readiness guide. It is updated to include your fall semester grades. It's that one with 7 pages, and it's got the little footprints, and it shows you where you are. Now that report is more real. It's kind of like where do you kind of stand? So it'd be a great thing for you guys to check out. And then below I have a few suggestions of before you begin your application. So one thing, hopefully most of you already have, is a unique and professional email that's not your school email, and one that you are going to be checking often. The way colleges are communicating, it's all through email. And even you may want to check your spam or junk mail as well. Sometimes the emails will go in there and you don't want to miss an important deadline or something that they reach out to you for. So if it were me, I would use an email that's really your more business email for those, and then emails that you use to like, oh, sign up for this at this store, etc., to be another email that you don't need to check as often. And that way it separates and makes it easier to check the important emails from not so important emails. So that's one suggestion for you guys. All right, Cal State, the system is fabulous. There's 23 campuses in the state of California. The application window is going to be October 1st through November 30th. Most years you can't begin the application until October 1st. I want to say this year for the seniors, they did open it earlier. You just can't hit the submit button until October 1st. There's a link here to campus exploration majors and the application. So if you click on that, it'll take you to, hey, what about the differences between some of them? There's, they're different in terms of obviously location, how big they are. Some are really small campuses like Cal State Channel Islands near Santa Barbara, kind of makes you feel like it's a small private school. And they have really large ones like Cal State Long Beach, San Diego State. And then you have some that are in rural areas, you know, where you're really far away from everything, like Humboldt State. And then you have one like San Jose State, where you're in the middle of the city and you walk across the street and there's San Jose City Hall, you know, very urban kind of a place. So you could check that out. And you do have to submit your application no later than November 30th. That's always been a hard deadline. I will say that for this year, for our current seniors, they did extend it to December 4th. And even a few campuses extended it further to December 15th. But I always recommend that you submit your California applications by Thanksgiving. So that the website doesn't crash afterwards when everyone's submitting at the last minute. And you could also enjoy your Thanksgiving a little bit more. For class of 2022, that's you guys, SAT and ACT scores are not part of your consideration for admissions. How they are considering it, you could click on this website. It'll take you to the CSU website. And then once you get there, it's broken down by the different CSUs. For the non-competitive Cal States, but what I mean by competitive is really just a popularity contest. So Cal State Long Beach, San Diego State, SLO will get the most applications. So that's what makes them more competitive. But it's going to be a GPA in your A through G classes, 10th and 11th grade. That's the weighted one. 10th and 11th grade GPA, A through G. And as long as that's a 2.5 or higher, you're in. And then the more selective Cal States, they will probably need a higher GPA, and they will also take into consideration courses that you've taken, rigor, activities that you do, and possibly preparation for a specific major like at SLO. So that website's there that you can find out exactly what the different Cal States. For Long Beach, of course, you're Long Beach Promise. So for them, if you look at your readiness guide, it already tells you if you meet it for Cal State Long Beach. Now, we don't have this semester's grades on the readiness guide, but at least you have it until the fall semester. Let's see something. Okay, great question already about the UC. So the question is, will competitive UCs look at weighted GPA or unweighted? It's also the weighted GPA. So UCs and Cal States use the same GPA formula, which is 10th and 11th grade, A through G courses with the extra point for any honors or AP, up to 8 additional points. So if you happen to have taken 3 APs last year and 5 APs this year, no one's doing that, by the way, but just to give you an example, that would be 8 classes broken into 2 semesters. That'd be 16 semesters, only 8 additional points would be given, even though it in our own heads, it's 16 additional points, it'd be only 8. So that was an extreme example. Okay, the UCs. The application opens in August, meaning you can create your account. You could already start filling in the information, but you can't hit the submit button until at the earliest November 1st. So their window is November 1st through November 30th. There's a link to the application, and here's a link to everything you need to know about the UC application. So that takes you to something we've covered earlier in the year about the different factors that they look into. Their dates and deadlines, filling out the application, learn more about it. There's a link to that. The personal insight questions, which I also linked in the Google slide directly. And then again, how the applications are reviewed. So I showed this to you in the fall. So yes, academic GPAs, the number of, the content of, and the performance, talents, academic, all these different things that they will look into. And then there's a way to look at it specifically by the campuses. What are the things that they may do a little bit different beyond the 13 factors? Again, submit no later than November 30th. Even this year under COVID, they did not extend the deadline. So don't expect it will be extended. And I will tell you, November 30th, when you have 200,000 people applying at the same time, the websites do kind of crash. So don't submit November 30th, submit it way earlier than that. For class of 2022, SAT and ACT scores will not be considered for admissions. There's the direct link to your personal insight questions. There's 8 of them. And notice that it's called questions, not essays. And so it's designed to look more like an interview, and they are kind of open-ended, and you could present yourself in the best way. It's answering 4 out of 8. Some tips and examples. I would have loved to have brought in some seniors to talk to you about their experiences, because nothing is better than hearing it from others who have been through it. Unfortunately, they're kind of done. And with all of this being at the end of the year with your APs, some of you were doing physics yesterday, there's no way we could have done it earlier. But I did get a few seniors to collaborate on a document for you guys. It's still a work in progress. So you may still make some edits. But I had them kind of brainstorm a little bit about how they went across to doing their PAQs, what's the hardest part, what advice would they have for you if they were to do it all over again, what would they do differently, and then some examples. So some examples of the questions and examples of the ones that they submitted. The only thing I asked them to do was take out anything personal, but other than that, it's exactly their last draft, how they submitted it. This is not to say this is how it should be done. There's, if you ever go to one of the UC admissions, they have sessions about PIQs and how they read them and examples as well. But this just gives you some ideas. And then also with Common Apps and other essays, what are some things and examples? Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. Campuses and majors. Not all the campuses offer the same majors, and they're all different and in their own ways. Some people will choose a campus based on their location. You want to go to San Diego or Santa Barbara and be like right on the beach, or Santa Cruz with the redwoods or whatnot. But you also want to check the majors. I've heard of students who say, I really want to go to blah, blah, blah university, and then go to find out they don't offer business. So you want to consider that if a major is a big part of what your deciding factor. It doesn't have to be. I didn't pick my college because of major. I just picked because of location and, Anyways, community colleges. There's an application website for the California community colleges. However, it's probably easier for you to go directly to the community college you want to go to and submit on their application. There are many reasons to attend community college. If you click on that link, it gives you a list of them. The main 2 that I hear from students and are on there is 1, cost. You'll save money by going to community college first. And then the other reason that I hear is it just gives you a chance to grow and explore a little bit more, whether that's exploring a career or major, or it gives you a chance to kind of also explore more about yourself, about what you would really want in your college before you transfer there. So lots of reasons to attend one. Also, like I said, the cost at LBCC, you would get 2 years. At other community colleges, you would get 1 year free. At LBCC, here's the website to the College Promise that describes this and benefits and what you would need to do to maintain that. And then I also have a link to the LBCC honors programs. I have a lot of students who do that. I have a senior who graduated from Millikan in 2019. He's graduating from LBCC today and is valedictorian. And so that's exciting. And it talks about their honors program and what are some of the benefits, including priority I shouldn't say acceptance, but when colleges are looking at their transfer applications, usually the honors programs get looked at first, and then everyone else from the community colleges, and then everyone else that wants to transfer from another four-year universities. So they do have that tier system, especially the UCs. It'll be an honors program first, then community college applicants, then they'll look at other like four-year university applicants. The deadlines do vary for community colleges. Really, you can apply until the last minute. You could apply in the summer and enroll in August, just like if you guys were applying for dual enrollment, but just know a lot of classes, of course, fill up. But most students in their senior year apply to community colleges between January and May. So finally, to the most confusing of everything is the private universities and out of states. And of course, it's just so confusing because everything varies. The deadlines vary. What the requirements to get in vary. What you need to do for their applications vary, where they're located. There's a lot of universities that have their own applications in, that you could get to and access from their websites. But there are more and more who are using something called the Common App. And then there's another one called the Coalition App. Some colleges will allow you to use the Common App or the Coalition. The Common App tends to be more common. So here's the link to the Common App. If you were to click on this and start an account today, I don't recommend that because that's still for this year's seniors. There's some colleges that are still accepting applications even up until July. So the rollover doesn't occur until August. So in August, you can create a Common App account. Notice how I keep saying August. Like I envision a lot of you guys doing this more in August than necessarily now or in the early parts of the summer. But again, you could do this even in the fall. So Common App, you could start that in August. And then there's a link here to an application guide and tips. So if you want to get an idea of what the application looks like, you would click here and it'll walk you through the different parts of it. There are Common App essays. I don't hear students usually stressing about these. They give you 8 options. The word limit is not as strict as the UC one. And the last essay prompt on there is write whatever you want. So you really could write anything you want for your Common App essay. And then they have announced that it's the same prompts as this year. So if you click on it, it'll take you to that. For other universities, you'd have to check on theirs for their colleges. The filing windows and deadlines vary per school. The requirements vary. I already said that. Most will require a secondary school report. So you would have to let me know if I needed to submit that. And then for the class of 2022, most colleges are test blind or test optional. Test blind meaning that they will not accept anybody's SAT or ACT scores. And then some are test optional, meaning that if you took it and want to share it, that they will consider it, and it's part of the consideration. COVID's changing so much, and one of the things in college admissions is that they're all kind of looking and seeing, now that they have real data, how useful has the SATs or ACTs been in the past to basically try to estimate future college success. Or is everything else in the application more valuable or less? So the colleges are going to have this information for probably the class of 2023 to decide if they want to stay that way or not. The UCs are done with SATs, ACTs. They've already said that for life. Not that it matters. This is what matters for you guys. I'll talk about that with the sophomores and the freshmen. If you get a chance, visit colleges. Some of them are already opening their campuses up for tours for summer or the fall. But even if they're not, or it's really far away, they have all vastly improved their virtual experience and information sessions, virtual tours, etc. So that's not going to go away, even if they are open and in person and doing in-person sessions. But they've all improved that. So they're going to, from what I'm hearing from many of them, they're going to keep their virtual experiences. So those are they're much better ways of visiting the colleges than in the years past, before you almost had to go in person or wait until they visited your school to hear from them. I did link to virtual college visit opportunities. If you're interested in any of these colleges, they do have some sessions coming up. So you could register for that if you wish. Some privates have something called early decision or early action. It really means that you apply early and you find out early. Only do this if your application is at its best by the early deadline. So if you get to October 30th and you're like, I wish I had more time to change this essay. Oh, I wish I had more time to get more feedback and make, then you should wait. If you're thinking that, then you should wait and just do regular regular application. But if your application's ready by November 1st to submit, and no amount of extra time is going to really change it at that point, then and this is something you want to do, then go for it. Early decision really means that you've decided early that this college is for you if you're accepted. So it is a commitment. So if you apply to school early decision and they accept you, you do need to go there and withdraw your applications from any other school that you may have applied to. Early action, there's no commitment, so you're not bound. And you just usually find out early, usually in December. Letters of recommendations, you do not need a letter of recommendation for the UCs, for Cal State or community colleges, with very few exceptions, such as applying for an honors program or a specific major that may require it, like UCLA Film School or such and such nursing school, where they do need letters of rec for that. Other than that, UCs, Cal States don't need letters of rec. With many privates, they'll let you know if they do require a letter of recommendation. So you do need to find out how many letters you need and are there specific people that you need them from. Some are very open, any one teacher. Okay. Some of them are more specific. They may say it has to be at least one core. Core usually means English, math, science, history. So they might say you need one from a core teacher. Or if you're going into a science program or like a school like MIT or something like that, then might need to be specifically from like a science or math teacher. Sometimes they want a mentor letter or an optional mentor letter, someone that knows you outside of academics. Pastors, especially if you're applying to like a religious university, from your counselor. And so the recommendation is that you ask for your recommenders early. That's in bold, all caps with 3 exclamation points. For teachers, there's some information that I listed there for you. Ask them what they need from you. Some of them may want a resume or a brag sheet. And then I have some other recommendations, like provide them with statements of, your achievement in their class, how you contributed to the learning environment, or how you helped other students to be successful. Maybe you tutored someone or, helped them out. What did you do in your own time for that class or to prepare for the test? How maybe the class changed something in you or how you view the world, etc. Maybe remind the teacher of a conversation that you had at the end about something. And then maybe share anything else that you feel is relevant that this teacher already knows about you and your character, or for them to know about you and your character. And then you feel free to talk about COVID and distance learning and the challenges that maybe you face and how you overcame them. And then for the counselor letter of recommendation, just like, a lot of your teachers get a lot of requests. And so that's why you want to make this easier for them. For me, I get a lot of requests this year. I probably wrote about 150 letters of rec. So for next year, since we are going to be in person, at least that's what I keep hearing and thinking, I do want you to ask me in person. Come to my office and request it. If there's a circumstance that prevents it, then yeah, we'll have you email. When you do ask me for a letter of rec, I have a form with questions. And so this is designed to for you to help me write an individual, effective, and meaningful letter. I do have deadlines though. If you talk to any current seniors this year, I did extend deadlines. It's just a rough year. I don't anticipating extending deadlines for you guys. I kind of need to know how many I have to have by certain days. And so that I can look at my calendar and space out and plan which days I'm going to write how many and how. So I am going to stick to these deadlines. So if you're applying early to a school, you need to return the forms to me by September 17th. So you can check those out. And one thing I will say is that my letters are confidential. They're expected to be. The colleges want to make sure that what we write are authentic, genuine responses about a student, and that we weren't pressured because someone was going to read it. So, and it's not because I'm going to write a bad one. I pride myself that I write good letters. I spend a lot of time on them. But just know that they are confidential. And then finally, some last minute tips. Start early. Be organized. I'm a calendar person, and you want to have a calendar, whether that's a Google calendar or old fashioned calendar where you write everything in. But you want to plot and plan when to work. If you're thinking, okay, I want to do something over the summer, then figure out when is a good time. Okay, you want to rest. You want to have moments away from screen and away from doing all of this. It's been an overwhelming, traumatic year. So maybe not now is not a good time, but maybe you decide, okay, I want to get started, end of July or August. Pick a date, and say, this day I just want to research. This day I want to look at the questions and maybe start answering, writing my first draft. And then try to have someone that can help you be accountable. So I'll just give a personal example of what I mean. I'm training for a half marathon. There's certain days that I need to do certain runs in order to get there. And this weekend, I plan to run Saturday morning. Well, if I don't write it down and kind of have someone hold me accountable, I know I'm going to not run. It probably won't happen. I mean to all day long. I have in my head, I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden it's 2 p.m. and I didn't get it done. Whereas instead I said to reach out to a friend, I said, hey, let's meet up and run at the beach Saturday morning. So now that I have someone I'm going to meet, I know it's going to get done. So that's just an idea for you guys. If you want to set up like a time when some of you want to get together virtually or in person or however that would work, you're more likely to get something done if you do that. Keep in mind other commitments, deadlines that take place around the times of college applications. Some of you are choosing, when we talked, some really hard courses next year, or you're going to be really involved with marching band or with your sport or with a club that you're going to lead or with work or family commitments, etc. So when you think of your fall schedule and include all of those things, so that's why some of you may want to get started earlier so that all of those things are less stressful when you get there. Make a list of the colleges you wish to apply to and share it with your parents, review it with them. I included both a PDF sample, so if you want to just print one here, it's a chart where you can write out the colleges you want to apply to. Or if you want to create your own, you could click on this, and for your organizational chart, you won't be able to edit this, so you'll have to, of course, make a copy for yourself. And then you can add to it, delete, what I have in here, add extra columns, etc., make it your own. But just to give you an example of how you could organize it, what essays you may need to write. Do you need letters of rec, so that you can already have it organized for yourself. Utilize the College and Career Center. We have a brand new College and Career Center. I got to see it once. And they've got new furniture in there, new computers, and it looks like a bookstore / cafe, except I don't think we're going to sell coffee. But it looks really nice. It's going to be a great place for you guys to do homework and to work on college apps. So I definitely recommend you guys utilize it. We thought class of 2021 was going to be the first ones to use it, but really it's going to be you guys. So I'm excited about that. And the folks that work there, they're going to be your best friends next year. So definitely utilize it. Utilize your unscheduled periods. Utilize your, if you're a TA for someone next year. So yes, definitely utilize the College and Career Center. Take breaks when, or I should say, if or when it gets overwhelming. It is overwhelming. The process, it can be. There's a lot to go with it. You're not only doing all the things that you need for the application, but it starts making you think about everything you've been through in the last few years, and it makes you think about your future, which is exciting but can also be a little scary. So it can get overwhelming in different ways. So take breaks and definitely utilize your support system. And then finally, I recommend that you have someone review your applications to make sure that there aren't any mistakes, especially big ones. You don't want to fill out a Cal State application and put that you're not a California resident. That's a huge, big difference, not only in admissions, but it also affects how much you have to pay, and you do not want to pay out of state tuition. But also make sure that you're presenting yourself in an authentic voice. You want to have someone, I like saying have someone that knows you read it and have someone that doesn't know you read it. The person that doesn't know you can kind of get it, like, did they get an idea of who you are by reading your application? And maybe someone that does know you, maybe they could, you might forget about something that you did and they're like, hey, you didn't include this, or how come you're not highlighting this about yourself? And making sure that you're also presenting yourself in an authentic voice. And we'll do it. Do you guys have any questions? You could stop recording if